Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Welcome to another installment of Miniature Monday. So just a video series where I just take a look at some of the miniature sets or the miniatures that I have in my collection. They're not all necessarily going to be like sets or like the big giant minis that I've purchased, but so far they kind of have been. I do have an idea for a few other videos that do involve some different sort of like subsets of my miniature collection, but for today, we are going to be taking a look at another set of the Dungeons & Dragons Classic Collection. So this is, I guess, like an anniversary series celebrating D&D's 50th, going over or showing some of the classic creatures from the original, I shouldn't say original, but the first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual. So the original would be like, there's a Monsters and Treasure, I think, in Zero E, but yes, this is for the original first edition style of artwork here. And these sets are premium. Like, I'm not going to pretend that they're not. This set was over $100, so a little bit more expensive than what I would have liked to have paid for it. When it comes to minis these days, it's hard not to have to like sort of pay that premium on top of everything here. But it is kind of neat to see some of the creatures in like the old style of art there. But some of these sets are just like really, in my opinion, just like a huge miss. Like, for example, the set that has D through F, I think it is. It has 4 elementals, right? It has an Ifrit, which is kind of neat. But it doesn't have a single dragon. And, you know, in my opinion, every creature that is on the cover of this should have been in the set, you know, just in my opinion there. Like, you got the red dragon is super prominent. I don't care if it was in the D for dragon or R for red dragon set, but there's no dragons in this entire, like, classic collection. I think there's a unicorn. I think there's a centaur. I know that, like, there's a troll and stuff like that. So they have most of them, but for whatever reason, and it would have been even, you know, even if it wasn't necessarily in this type of set, but if they could have just done a classic collection of just like the chromatic dragons and have, you know, one large mini for each of the, you know, the white, black, blue, green, and red dragon, that would have been awesome because they did that, something like that years ago. So I don't know. I mixed feelings about this set, but this is one that I was intrigued by because of some of the creatures that are inside. So we're going to take a quick look here. Just sort of what we have, and then we will actually take the minis out of the box in this case and actually have a pretty up-close look at them here. So there was a few minis that I really wanted for this set. So let's go ahead and actually get these fellows out of here. Because we did not do that with our other A set that had like the beholder and stuff in there. This doesn't have any other additional tape, does it? Nope, I think it's just... There we go. Alright, so let's start with our smallest guy here. So this is the first edition Kobold. It might be kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can... I don't know if that'll help or not, but that is the first edition Kobold there. Maybe we'll leave the light on while we take a closer look at some of these. After that, let's take a look at one of the ones that I wasn't overly interested in, but I guess I've got it in my collection now. We got a Merfolk. And again, one of the things I really wish that they would do is go back to the black bases with the white lettering, or if you're going to have a clear base, use black lettering so you can actually read what these things are. That's one of the gripes that I kind of have with the modern minis. And pretty much everything else here is something that either I didn't have or I just really love to have minis of. So, for example, I do have a Naga. Whoop! And I almost, maybe I don't again now, just give me a second here. Oh. Benefits of plastic minis, I guess. But here is just a Naga once again. And you can tell it's a female because it has eyelashes. The only other thing that would have made it identify as, or be able to see it as a female, based off of, like, old cartoons and, cartoon characters and stuff like that, mascots, would be the eyelashes, or if she had a ribbon. But still pretty cool, nonetheless. And then this mini, I think, is just super cool. I don't know how practical it's going to be to use it. More than... Well, I mean, it's still cool. So this is the mummy. And it's actually, like, coming out of the sarcophagus. So I think that is super cool. Just have that on your table there. And believe it or not, this is the first painted Minotaur mini I've ever gotten. So, I used to collect the D&D minis way back in the day. I started with, like, the chainmail minis. And there were two, of all the factions, there were 6 factions to start off with. And of the 6 factions, I was collecting 4 of them. And the Minotaur that they had for the chainmail minis was from one of the sets that I wasn't collecting. So I never ended up getting him. And then when the D&D mini set came out, they just, like, they were always in the rare slot. So I just never ended up getting one. And then, like, I do have an unpainted Minotaur from, like, the 5e era from the Nolzar's line. But this is my first actual painted Minotaur, and it looks pretty gnarly there. Nice big axe. The Minotaur. And then these are all just figures that I just absolutely love. They pop out quite easily. So here we got the lizard folk. And you can never have enough of these guys. So it goes back to my King Kong adventure that I ran there with the lizard folk attacking the keep. So it would have been cool to have that guy. He could have stood out. And then these next two are the main reason, aside from the Minotaur and the mummy miniature, that I ended up buying this set. So here we've got the Lich. Just a basic plain Lich. I do have some Lich miniatures, but it's like a Serac, or it's Vecna, or it's Vlaakith. So here is just a sort of a generic Lich. Still pretty cool looking nonetheless. And then this one is the ultimate for me, and this is the Mind Flayer. It's just a really cool looking mini. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Have you picked up any of these classic collections? If so, which ones do you have? I don't intend to get the entire set. The only other set that I might want is the one that follows this up, because it has like an Otyugh and stuff like that in it. But regardless, I think these are kind of neat. A little bit expensive, like they are kind of like sort of premium thing here. So there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 miniatures for $100. A little pricey. If it would have been $10 per painted mini isn't the worst in the world. But anyway, it is what it is. But there's still some cool minis in here, and I'm gonna have to wrap this up before my dog gets too worked up here in a moment. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, do you have any of these classic creature sets? And if so, which ones do you own? Which ones would you recommend? I have the A through C and the K through N. So if there's any other ones that you think is really worth picking up, let me know that. And I can't promise anything, but we'll take a look. Anyway, thank you all so very much for your time. I appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care.